Honestly, man, I thought there was an electric charger here so we can charge the electric cars. That's what I was looking. The map took me there. No, we're good. We're good. Let's go. So here's what we have. On this side, this is the Macan 4S. Meanwhile, this is the Polestar 3 Performance Dual Motor. So both these two vehicles are essentially high performance vehicles with dual motors, and both give amazing range. But today we're gonna find out which one is the best option out of the two. We've got the Macan here, first ever, fully electric, new generation, and we've got the Polestar 3, which essentially is the first ever as well, but the first ever model made by Polestar. Let's start first with the Polestar 3, because it's my first time ever driving one of these, although I've driven the Volvos and they're kind of similar. But this one though, I've got to really like this. I really enjoy how it drives, the space. It's pretty quick with this performance package. And what's even more important is that it looks really awesome. What I mean with that is it's very different than any other vehicle. In fact, it kind of reminds me of IKEA bits, as if an engineer from IKEA worked for Polestar and designed this. Look at the design of the front end. It's something you don't see in many vehicles. It also has its own spoiler here. So what happens is that the air flows through here inside and it comes through the front parts. And it looks a bit like a shark at the front. The next thing is the lights. I love these hammer style lights. And if you look closely on the inside, what in the Star Wars is happening here? Look at the design of that, the way it's sculpted on the inside. Absolutely love this thing. And then we move on to the side profile. It's the first time that a vehicle has so many letters on the outside. Like for example, over here it says Polestar 3, and then that's 111 kilowatts an hour. That I'm assuming that's the battery. And then we've got 380 kilowatts, which is the charging. And then move on to the front, we have more. Like it says here, Smart Zone, which I'm assuming this is for the cruise control. It's kind of like a target icon, as if it's targeting something. I'm behind you, I got you. Now we can shoot some missiles. And then on the side here, the same thing, which again, never seen that before. The side profile of this vehicle, it's pretty cool, including the door handles. Like you can lock it by tapping this, and then all you have to do is put your hand underneath and it opens automatically for 4 doors. Moving on to this area, we've got 22-inch wheels. What a beautiful design. They've done a great job with this package. And then moving on to the rear end, another unique design, including the single bar at the front, the single bar in here, which is for the tail lights, and not just a spoiler in the front, it also has a spoiler over here. So if you look carefully, you've got this nice flow for the air to flow through, which I'm assuming, because it's electric, they want to give you the best range. And the only way to achieve the best range, in most cases, you'd have to design the vehicle so that it has a great efficiency. When we're talking about the drag efficiency of the cars, this is probably one of the best out there for its size. Now, let's talk about the Macan, because the Macan is new for this year, so it's a new generation. And what's even more important is the fact that this is fully electric. First time ever that Porsche is offering a fully electric Macan. In terms of the petrol one, I'm not sure what's happening with that side, but for now we're driving this one with the 4S package. And the first thing you notice when you look at this on the outside, whether it's the front or the side profile, it looks like a Porsche Taycan that has been through some air pumping. They made sure they biffed these up and it was like fat on the outside. But having said that, myself and Marcella were looking at these two, and this really stands out, especially with these 22-inch wheels. Now, in terms of the differences with the outgoing model, the first thing you notice that we've got this. This is the first time ever that a Macan comes with an extended spoiler. In fact, you can control this from inside, and it goes even further up if you press a button in the screen. And having seen this thing pop in and out, I gotta say, it actually adds a lot of perspective and a better design and I think it just really stands out compared to the Polestar 3. I like this. And then we've got the taillights, which the same as the Polestar, everybody's going with this phase of making thinner taillights and making it look different, but this one has similar to what you see in the Polestar. Difference is that it doesn't continue all the way to the edge, it's just one straight line. And then we move on to the bottom, we've got this massive diffuser, as you can see. I feel like they've designed this in a way that they can save some of that design for the ICE version of this. And we'll move on to the middle, we've got the Porsche letters, the back. Okay, let's move on to the front and let me show you what's new with this generation Macan. First of all, with this 4S package, this thing looks so muscular. It's like it went through a steroid phase. Like, first of all, this entire area is just like so much wider than before. Now, we don't have a standard headlight at the top. This is your daylight running light. It's got that butterfly style, which I'm a big fan of. The actual headlight is located at the bottom. And then we have this massive lip at the front and the entire area at the bottom here for airflow. Really nice. At the bottom also, we have the cruise control system, the adaptive cruise control in this case. But let's talk about something that is very important for electric vehicles. By now, we know that electric vehicles have what's called a frunk. And in this case, the Macan does have one. In fact, it does have two buttons over here. That's for the frunk, that's for the trunk. And one thing I love about it is that you press that button and it automatically opens up. So you don't actually have to do anything. They have moved this from a standard, well, hood or bonnet, depends where you're from, to an actual frunk. And the way this thing opens up is just amazing. It's easy. And you've got extra space in here. There's also some things that you can make use of it, like for example, the windshield washer is located in there, and there's this little handle here, like a divider that says Porsche, in case if you wanted to put something in here, maybe your lunchbox or anything like that, that will not fall into this area. But it's quite large, I have to admit. And then we've got the battery on the side. That's your exit button. There's the light, and that's about it. But it does offer a frunk. Polestar engineers have made it a little bit different, so let me show you. First, you have a traditional lever in here. You pull that, and in order to access, it doesn't automatically open. You have to use another lever here, and you pull it up. Now, having said that, I've had some issues with trying to open this thing a couple of times, but now I've gotten the hang out of it, so it's a lot easier. And then we've got a frunk, but this one, it's covered. So you have that, you also have a cover on top of it. So I'm not sure why, but they went the other way. And then we've got some extra equipment in here, and this one is divided in two. So you got space on the right and the left side. In terms of the windshield washer, it's located over there, which is easy access. And then we've got the coolant on this side, I believe, that you can top it up from there. Now, unlike the Porsche, this one, you kind of have to slam it a bit. And I didn't do it. Yeah. Onto that side. There you go. The Porsche, on the other hand, you don't have to go too hard with this because you only have one hook. You go down a bit, and that's it. We talked about the frunk, let's talk about the trunk. To open the tailgate, you've got a button here for the Macan and gives you access to the cargo area. Now, this one offers about 18 cubic feet of space. On the front, you're looking at about 2.9. But it does have some features. Because it is equipped with an air suspension system, you can lower and raise the vehicle with this button located onto the side. On top of that, we got some extra storage underneath. There's a subwoofer in here, and you can pull these levers, which kind of remind me of an Audi, to fold the seats in there. So nothing powered. And we've got these little straps here in case if you want to hide something. There's extra compartment on the side, same thing on this other side, and you can lock and unlock the tailgate from here, but you can also lock the vehicle just with one button. Now, let's talk about the cargo space of the Polestar 3. In terms of tech features, you get the same thing as a Porsche Macan. You got these two buttons that you can lower it. In fact, it lowers as I touched it and then press it up again. Whoa, this thing goes up. Let's try one more time. Further up. No, that was it. And then you get more space underneath here. In fact, you get a lot more space than the Macan, plus that cable to charge it at home. It has these little handles on this side, which I'm a big fan of. It's a nice touch in this vehicle. We've got the cargo net on this side, the same thing on that side. Now, to fold the seats, you have to reach all the way here to press the button to fold them completely in case if you need the extra space. But you've got a little door in here to press in case if you want to access the centerpiece. Okay, let's jump into the second row. We'll start first with the Polestar 3. Oh, this is comfortable in here. Lots of space. Oh, the seats are quite nice, and I love these yellow seat belts. It also has letters on top over here, so it actually says 100% trace Napa leather. It also gives you this is for your pollution level, your CO2, and it has animal welfare secures. So you're inside a vegan car. The interior is quite nice. I love these Bowers and Wilkins. Now this is an actual light, so at nighttime when it's dark inside, it lights up and it's a really nice touch. Bowers and Wilkins is the company that actually provides the audio system for the Polestar and Volvos in that case. It's quite spacious. There's quite a lot of leg room for me, space, visibility is great, large, very large panoramic roof in this case, but this one is fixed so you can't really open it. In the center we've got the climate units, you've got heated seats, you can change the temperature, and at the bottom there's 2 USB-C ports. Lots of space here, very nice interior. I love this leather. It feels really nice. Now let's go and jump into the Macan. Now I positioned the seats for both as if I was a driver, so that way it gives you a perspective of how much space you get. Second row, right away there's a bit more space in the Polestar than the Macan. Now it's not that it's uncomfortable here, but I notice a bit of more room in there, and it also feels larger in this side, so kind of can put my hand through and there's no problem. Having said that, it's not uncomfortable at all. There's a panoramic roof all the way across, which is quite nice. There's an armrest in the center with 2 cup holders. Okay, let's jump into the front row. Let's start first with the Polestar 3. First of all, we've got the seat here, which is nice. You only got one button to adjust the seat back and forth, up and down. And there's a button in the center too. To open the door, this is quite interesting. You've got this lever here, and it's all powered because it's not manual adjustable. And to access the actual windows, you've got this button here that you can press. You can lock the vehicle from there. But let me show you the inside. There is no actual physical button to start the vehicle. All you have to do is put into drive or put into park to stop the vehicle, and you're good to go. So you don't press any buttons to start this. Very much like you'd seen in Tesla vehicles. We've got this nice steering wheel with buttons on the right side and the left side. These are haptic buttons, and we also have the actual screen, which has the GPS, besides the fact that you have a GPS right in there, and you can change a bunch of the settings. It shows you the battery level. In this case, we've got 53% and 180 kilometers, and you've got the speedometer onto that side. There is a heads-up display, which is a nice add-on, and then we've got the center screen. Now this is all Android based, and the only way to use it is just through the touchscreen. This is your Google built-in map, which also shows you charging stations by pressing this little lighting icon over there. And then here you go. It tells you all the charging stations closest to you. Closest for us is 10 minutes from here, but we're okay because we've got a good range. And you have more buttons underneath here. Now, this one is equipped with a lot of settings for the vehicle. So let me show you that one by one. First of all, there's the performance pages, which this vehicle offers. You've got your G meter, in case if you want to take this around the track, which is quite nice. There's also the launch control. You can do a full launch control with that, and here you go. It shows you 0 to 60 times and all that, because this is the performance level vehicle. And then we go back into the main menu. We've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. There's also more settings for the vehicle, which is another one to remember. All the buttons that you need, they're right in here. We got the driver adjustments, which you can control your side mirrors and the steering if you wanted to change the position. And we've got rain sensitivity. It also has a automatic glove box. Come on, glove box. It doesn't want to open. Okay, it's not opening in this case, but that's for your glove box and that's for your trunk. You go into more settings. We've got a lot of settings to work with in this vehicle, and I think that's gonna take you at least a week to get used to. But that's the entire experience of buying a vehicle, is you get to learn stuff like that, like going to drive modes, creep mode in this case, hill descent assist. You've got the sport mode that gives you more power with the traction off. You got range or performance, you can pick between that. And another thing that this offers is a lot of sort of driving settings. We've got your steering feel from light to standard and firm. And believe me, these things work. And the difference between light to firm is huge. We've got the one pedal drive, which gives you standards, and low. This is for regeneration, so that gives you the best, recharging. In terms of suspension system, you can do standard, nimble, or firm. Because this is equipped with air ride, it will adjust the suspension stiffness based on the settings that you have in here. There's a lot of settings to go through with this, including charging, which gives you information about your battery, how it's charging, the charging levels, and so on. There's a lot of settings that you can go through. I could take a day here to show you everything, but the video would be 24-hour long. There's a lot of features, there's a lot of tech, car status as well, pilot assist, driving assist, Google app as well, because this one has all the settings from Google. You've got your controls and so on. Child lock underneath here. You can do reduced alarm. What is that one? That's interesting. I'm assuming it's less sensitive. And you've got the performance. Now, when you press performance here, you're essentially in your sport mode. So you got to keep that in mind, because the range might not be the best. In the center, we've got two cup holders. That's for your volume and for play music. We've got a wireless charging pad in there, and then there is more space underneath here. Now, the Macan on this side has proper door handles. You can just open like that, and here we go. You also get lots of buttons here to adjust your seat, unlike the one in the Polestar, which only has one button, and there's more buttons on this side to open the frunk and the trunk in that case. And we've got your memory settings, but the interior jumping from the Polestar to this is very different. Now, let's jump inside. Okay, jumping from the Polestar to this, you notice the difference. This also has the same thing, so you jump in and it turns on automatically, but it does have a button on this side that you can turn it off and turn it on, which I wish the Polestar had that, because sometimes, or naturally, like my wife, for example, she jumped into the Polestar and she goes, how do I start this? I'm like, honey, just put it into drive and you're good to go. So some people may get confused, but she jumped into the Macan and she's like, I like this, it has a button. The design of the Porsche is very, very different to the one in the Polestar. So let me show you. Let's start first with the steering wheel, which is very different to the one in the Polestar, simply because you've got this little knob here that you can change the driving modes. You can put it in normal, sports, off-roads, and it also raises and lowers the vehicle based on the driving mode. You also have buttons here that you can touch. Now, you have seen this steering wheel. It's the same one that you see in the Taycan and the new Porsche vehicles. Of course, the Macan was going to receive the same one. And then we've got the cluster, which is kind of like shaved at the top, but it is digital all the way through. There's a lot of settings that you can go through with this. It's quite easy to control because you've got buttons on the steering wheel, but you can change the view as well, and you can do that. Here we go. Now that's a full GPS mode, or the speedometer. A lot of settings, you can change that. It's a larger display compared to the one in the Polestar, but you don't get a heads-up display with this. The only thing you get is this part. The Macan doesn't have as many buttons as well, but it does offer different design layout and a smaller screen. You can control a lot of settings from here. You've seen this design before. You've got the settings for the vehicle. In terms of the driving dynamics, you can do driving normal, sport, the chassis, the same thing. So you can change something. You can change like the steering wheel feel, but based on the driving mode, it can do that automatically, which is great. It also has electric sport sound. So when you're driving, it offers a bit of an enhancement through the speakers so that you can experience the car differently. We've got the spoiler app, which you can control from here. There's driver assistant package in this case for adaptive cruise control, built-in navigation. Now this doesn't have a powered like Google, for example, but you can do Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It's not really a big deal. In fact, you can see Apple CarPlay right there. We've got the driving mode and a bunch of settings that you can go through. There's also interior lighting that you can change. The charging level, for example, shows right in here. You can do precondition with this package, something that you can do also with the Polestar. And here we go, a lot of settings you can go through. Smart service, Sirius XM built in, easy to use. The infotainment, it's not that hard to understand. It won't take you long to go through some of these settings because it doesn't have a lot more than the Polestar. I find the Polestar to have a lot more of these features that you don't see in here. Now, if you like buttons, the Macan offers some of them. Like for example, for the climate unit, you can control it through here. It has heated seats and ventilated seats in the front. You can control the climate levels, the fan speed, and so on. So you do get some buttons with Macan in case if you like buttons. And then we've got some space here. Those are your 2 cup holders. There's some space underneath there. Maybe you can put your bag and so on. But overall, the design of the Macan is very different to the Polestar, like from the steering wheel all the way around here. Okay, foot on the brake, throttle all the way. Not bad. 0 to 60, this will do it in about 4.6 seconds, 4.5. It makes 489 brake horsepower. It is dual motor. It's got a 111 kilowatt battery, which is pretty large. Range, well, it's estimated about 389 miles at about 516 kilometers. EPA range, this is estimated at between 279 miles or 449 kilometers. Now, keep in mind that all depends on how you drive. And I've been driving it for a week, 400 plus kilometers. It's pretty tough to get that, especially now because it's a little bit cold. But if you are not heavy on the foot, this thing will give you good range. Another thing to know about this, and I'm going to turn off performance because I don't want to waste that battery, is that it does have a 1 pedal and it's very noticeable. So you let go of the brake, of the throttle, and then it just really does the braking for you completely. So, which is great because that just regenerates into power, into electricity, goes into the battery, so it recharges the battery. It's pretty efficient like that, and they've done a great job. Now, what about the performance levels? Does it feel like a performance vehicle? Well, here's what you could do. You can go into drive over here, you go into the performance levels, and now when you press performance, you can change the stiffness of the steering, and it gets pretty heavy once you change those settings. The steering wheel gets a bit more, let's say, firm, and when you're going around the corner, it gives you a different feeling like you're driving a performance vehicle. But having driven this thing for a week now, I wouldn't say that it feels like performance-oriented more. It feels more like dailyable than it is performance-oriented. It's just more enjoyable as a daily car. It's the type of vehicle you sit back and you don't push it too hard. Because it has rear steering, the Macan, I can do a full U-turn like this. Oh my God, without having to reverse at all. And we're gonna do a launch control. Now this one, it's pretty easy. Put in sport mode with a little toggle in here. And here you go, foot on the brake to the throttle, launch control active. 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds because it makes 509 horsepower with overboost, 442 normally. Dual motor, it's ridiculous. Jumping from the Polestar to this, the difference is noticeable. This car is made for fast, 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 fast. And the handling is so different between these two. Like this thing goes around the corner as if it's nothing. It's got the power. This thing moves, and that steering at the back just helps this car so much, and you notice that. Now, one thing that you don't get the same way as the Polestar is the one pedal. This doesn't have one pedal, but it does have a regeneration, but it's softer. So if you let go right now of the throttle, it's not going to slow down right away. It also has those performance sounds that you hear. You put your foot down and you can hear them from inside and outside. Conclusion, which one would I take out of the two? The Macan or the Polestar? I've been driving them back to back, and it all comes down to what you actually like. The Polestar, it's softer, it's got a bit of a boaty ride, but not to the point that it'll make you feel sick. It's more enjoyable. This is more for someone that is looking for like fast, 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 go fast. We drive fast around the corner, we drive fast everywhere, and you like that constantly or sometimes or 50% of the time. Personally, I kind of like the power on this thing, but then I find it to be a bit uncomfortable on the road, just a bit compared to the Polestar. So because I like the space and I have a family and I like the daily, and my wife I think would enjoy that a bit more as a passenger, but they're just, it would be very hard to walk into a dealership, seeing both of them, taking them for a drive and going, that's what I like. You would have a really hard time unless you're set on one. Then there's nothing that the car can do. But if you saw them side by side, you'd go, I don't know which one I'll pick. They're both great. They're both really great machines.